Good morning, everyone. There's a great quote that says, "You often meet your destiny in life on the road that you took to avoid it." The name of this whole book that we're starting to read is Vayikra. Vayikra means, "and God called." Now, the verse goes on to say, God called Moshe and he spoke to him. So why doesn't the verse just start by saying God spoke to Moshe? It says first he called him and then he spoke to him. So the idea is that God is calling to Moshe before he speaks to him. We know there's an idea of a calling in life, that everyone has their calling in life. But what's very interesting is we don't always hear our calling. And what's fascinating is that the word Vayikra is spelled with a miniature aleph at the end. There are many reasons given why there's a miniature aleph, but one novel interpretation is that if you take away the aleph of Vayikra, you have the word Vayakar. Vayakar means God encountered Moshe. If you add the aleph, which is a silent letter, Vayikra, it becomes, and God called. We could either go through life as casual experiences and encounters without any rhyme or reason, or we could hear our calling in life. What is your calling? How do you know what your calling is? So when you have a passion for something, and you have the skills and the ability to achieve something, and you see a void, you see a need in some area that your abilities and your talents match the need in front of you, and you have the passion and enthusiasm, that's your calling. So why do many people go through life and not hear their calling or fulfill their calling in life? You go to a person and say, what's your calling in life? Not everyone has an answer. Some people do say, my calling is such and such. Some people don't know what their calling is. Why not? So the first word of the Torah book of Vayikra, what is the whole book about? It's about sacrifices, karbanot. And the message is, if you want to fulfill your calling, you have to be willing to make sacrifices. We all know what our calling is. If we really listen to the inner voice, we know what our calling in life is. We know what needs to be accomplished. We know what we can do to make a difference, not just make a living, but make a difference in this world. But the question is, are we willing to take the necessary steps and the sacrifices of time and effort or resources to achieve that calling? And that's why the first word of this book is Vayikra, and God called. I'll just conclude with a story that I just heard recently at APEC. I was sitting with Eli Beer, the founder of Hatzalah. He's going to be here next Shabbos. He's going to spend Shabbos with us. And he told me a personal story. Now, he's a person who fulfilled his calling. He was once walking out of his store somewhere, and he was 16 years old, and he saw a man have a heart attack. And he jumped to rescue him and call 911, and he happened to know CPR and whatever it was. He revived this person and saved his life. And he came up with this unbelievable idea. He said, I was in the store. I happened to walk out. I saw this man collapse. I saved his life. He said, but if they would have waited for the ambulances to come, it could have taken 5, 10, 15 minutes. Who knows if he would have survived? So he came up with this unbelievable idea that we should get volunteers who are EMS people, and they should have radios, and if they hear with the monitoring system, if they hear that someone needs medical help, you notify the people who are closest in proximity. Someone could be having a heart attack right outside the street now, God forbid. And there could be 5 doctors in the room, but if we don't know to help this guy, he'll have to wait for the ambulance. I could run outside and help him in 3 seconds. So he came up with this GPS tracking device system. And he went to the medical, ambulance services in Israel and said, I want to do this volunteer thing, but they didn't want him to do it. So as a teenager, at the age of 16, 17, him and his friends bought these, what is it, where you can hack into? No, you listen to the police calls. And he was able to listen to the 911 calls in Israel, and they would race to the scene with their friends before the ambulances got there. Today he has thousands of volunteers all over Israel on ambucycles, saving lives. And it's exactly this system. I just spoke to a volunteer in Israel this week who told me that he got a call. He was 30 feet away from what occurred, and he was the first one on the scene. So he has thousands of people in their trunks of their car. They keep their EMS equipment, and the GPS tracking system notifies the people closest to where the call came in from, and today is a recognized organization. And God willing, a week from Sunday, we're going to have an event, a ceremony here, where we're going to dedicate 5 members of the shul. We're going to dedicate ambucycles to Israel for Israel's 70th birthday in memory of the victims of example of a person at the age of 16 was able to fulfill his calling, and who knows how many thousands of lives have been saved as a result of one person responding